Tracy, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
Okay, what do you do for a living?
Currently, I am working as an independent contractor, as a field service technician, and a stand-up comic.
Oh, also, don't forget to subscribe. As one of the first 50,000 subscribers here will win $1,000, and we're getting really close.
I do IT work, so I sign up for jobs on an application online, and I bid on jobs, and if I'm accepted for the job, I will go and do the position.
So for bidding on these positions,
Right.
how frequently are you working within like a month?
So I try to do about, 2-3 jobs a week.
2-3 jobs a week. And what do you think your average weekly or average monthly pay is?
I think I'm about $3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month. Okay. Is that before taxes or pre-taxes?
That's before.
Okay. And then I'm assuming since these are contracting positions, you're setting money aside for taxes?
I try.
You try.
I don't, but I mean, it's a good thought.
That has been a common thread recently on this channel, interestingly enough. So 3,000, and you're not setting like 30% aside.
No.
Oof, okay. How long has this contracting thing been your livelihood?
I've been doing it for 3 years, and the fluctuation of when I apply for the jobs has come and gone. So sometimes if I need to take a break for family purposes or whatever, I don't bid on as many jobs. So
okay. And the last 2 years, how has that tax situation looked?
I haven't filed my taxes in 3 years.
Why?
I guess I've filed extensions. I've talked to my accountant. He's also not very happy with me, but
Okay.
I just haven't done it. It's just something that's not really been on my list of priorities.
Okay. So we probably have a little bit of piling up.
Well, I know that I always get income returned to me for like child tax credit. And
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have 2. But I know that I always get money back. So I know I'm not going to owe anything.
Really? Okay. Well, so how old are your kids?
They are 18 and 16.
18, 16. How long do you think the 18-year-old is going to be a dependent?
Well, he'll be done after this year. So he recently turned 18. This will be the last time. The last 3 years will be the last time I'll be able to claim him.
Because, I mean, $3,000 a month isn't like a ton of money, so your tax bracket's not crazy.
Right.
And then the child tax credits, especially throughout the pandemic with
Correct.
so those definitely help. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think that extra child tax credit did end for this year.
I don't think it will ever end.
No?
I think it's something that the government has always given to us. In fact, I think that they're giving people more now.
Well, that's what I was talking about, the more that happened in the pandemic.
Right. No, I never got any of the pandemic credit. I never got any of those fees or any of the, I guess, what were they called?
The stimulus?
Right. I didn't get a stimulus or anything.
And then you mentioned you're a stand-up comedian as well.
Right.
What do you bring in on average with that? Let's say a month.
I'm negative there.
Oh, okay.
I pay them. No, I haven't actually made anything. In fact, I've made a little bit, and it's all been cash, and I've just pocketed that.
Are you funny?
Am I very?
Sweet. Okay, so this is more like a passion, side hustle type
Right.
thing. Okay, very cool, very cool.
But I hear in the future I plan to make lots and lots of money, so I will need to, budget that in case it's, I'm very rich and famous.
Are you married?
Separated. It's been a while, right when the pandemic started, so there's no income coming in, and I don't get child support.
Okay. Separated, so still legally married though.
That was somebody else. So the children's father is he's not ever paid child support, so I don't receive any child support. But I don't have any alimony or anything from the ex-husband, or soon to be.
Did you never wanted to go to court for child support purposes?
I did. I pursued child support, and he is a complete waste of air. So he's just absent. I have no idea how to contact him. So.
But the legal system.
Right.
would.
So the legal system can't contact him either.
Why?
He doesn't work. So that's how they usually find people who they go after their child support, is they'll go and they'll find their income, their employer. This individual doesn't work.
So he's a real bum.
Right, and he doesn't file taxes. So what they do nowadays...
Oh, you don't file taxes either.
Exactly. No, but he really doesn't file taxes. Nowadays, what they do is they don't put people in jail anymore for not paying their child support. They actually take away their driver's license. So I don't think he even has a driver's license.
For the person you separated from, legally still married, though.
Legally still married, but he and I are amicable. So we just haven't gone through the process of getting divorced. But there's no alimony. He's not going to owe me any money. I'm not going to owe him anything.
How do you go for filing taxes? When that is to come?
Right. So I haven't done it since we did separate. The years that we did file taxes together, we filed joint.
Okay, but that would be no longer the case?
Right.
Has he been paying taxes?
I'm not sure. I assume yes.
Okay, and
probably filing separate, married separate.
Okay. So $3,000 a month, that is not a ton of money to live on. How do you feel currently in life?
So can I borrow some money? No. Actually, I have a trust fund, and that is my supplemental. So my trust fund helps me pay for almost everything else.
Yeah, and I know this trust fund is something you wanted to talk about a lot today. So go ahead and just give us the rundown.
Right. So I inherited this this trust fund since birth, and it is only for my health, my education, and my welfare. So what that means is if I need to go to the doctor, those bills are paid. If I need to go to school, they pay for my schooling. If I'm going to be homeless and live under a bridge, they will pay for my housing. So currently, they are paying the majority of almost everything because my income is at $3,000 a month, and it's sad that I'm living above my means, but I have that little bit of security blanket. So
now the trust fund, you mentioned just briefly before that it might be split.
Right. So it's from my mother's side of the family, and I have a brother, so it's an inheritance, oil and gas, and that goes strictly to my mother, which trickles down to me and my brother. So they took the trust fund, split it in half, took that half, split that half in half for me and my brother. Okay. So I have a quarter of it. Okay. He has a quarter, and then they do distributions from all pieces to my mother. So I don't know if that makes sense. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me either. So that's why I'm here.
It makes sense. What I just need to confirm, if what I have here and what's shown on screen right now, is this your quarter or is this the entire package?
That's a quarterly statement.
No. Is this a quarter of the package that you are owed, or is this the entire thing?
I'm really not sure. And let me tell you what, I barely open those. So I get these quarterly statements, and I am so ignorant to the information that they provide me in these quarterly documents that I don't even open them.
Do you know the entire value of the whole package? Okay.
I don't. In fact, this is one of 4 trust funds. So I don't even know how to get the information, who I would talk to.
Wait, you have 3 other?
Yes.
Oh.
That I don't receive statements on. So it's...
But you do get pay from?
I'm not sure. So I think they only give me statements from what I receive funds from. Okay. However, when my mother is no longer, those will be mine and my brother's.
Do you know how much they're worth? Do you have a
no.
guess?
Do you know a good attorney, a trust attorney that I could possibly find and get some help with this on, because I have no clue.
Well, I've never had to go down that path, so I don't have that connection specifically, but I'm sure there's a lot in the area.
Right. So I did talk to a trust attorney once. Okay. And that trust attorney wanted to charge me about $400 just to talk. And I was like, look, buddy, you're going to have to bill the bank because I have no money to pay you to talk to me about my money. And
just having a conversation with your mom about it?
So she's kind of doesn't really know much either. So this is, it's very unfortunate. My grandparents left it to, my mom, and she's been, employed her whole life. She's recently retired. Mm-hmm. So my father, while he was alive, he dealt with all of the bank stuff. So one thing I regret not talking to him about before he passed was the finances. Okay. So here we are stuck with, a lot of money and not knowing what to do.
Well, let's take a brief look at this, because this specifically is, it's not a lot of money. This is sitting at $37,938. That's a great amount of money. I think we would all love to receive that much money, like right now. Like, write me a check and I'm very happy. But It's not like a lot of money. This is not like a sustained life kind of money.
I think right here where it says for benefit of Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
that's my portion.
Okay, perfect.
I'm guessing quarterly. I'm guessing.
Well, I hope so.
Sorry to interrupt you. The other packet I sent you also has, I guess, drawing from the main. Okay, that's what I don't understand. The distributions.
Gotcha. So for the way this is split up, 14% is in cash equivalencies, which horrible. I would never do that.
I don't know.
It's giving you a yield of 0.03%. That's worse than putting it in a high yield savings account where you'd get over 3% today. Fixed income, I mean, that hasn't been performing very well, neither has the equities, but those are fine at 26% in the fixed income and equities and 53%. Or the fixed income might not be fine, but we'll take a look at that. And then alternative assets, we'll also take a look at 5.89%. The majority certainly is in the equities at $20,000 there. Now, the yields haven't been great, but that's because the market hasn't been performing great. The only thing that has been performing slightly decent is the alternative assets, which I believe is in foreign funds, where we're going to take a look at that, and that's at 4%. So, yeah, the Fed fund, 5,388, it's essentially just sitting there doing nothing. Who's managing this?
Broadway Bank.
And can you just get in contact with them?
I have a wealth management I guess it's like a trust officer. I've been dealing with the trust since, I was young. So I deal with one person. I send in my request. I get the funds, and then I go on with my day.
I would, not official financial advice, if I were in your shoes, put in a request saying I don't want $5,388 doing absolutely, also known as almost 15%, doing absolutely nothing. I'd want this growing in some way over the course of years,
I really wish I knew what you were talking about.
Well, the Fed fund, the cash.
Right. No, so, I literally really wish I knew what you were talking about. I'm very oblivious to any of this. I need help.
Yeah, for sure. So this first one right here.
Right.
So, right. Yeah, when you go back home, when you just see cash there, bad.
Bad.
We don't want it just not doing anything. Now, oh, yes. Okay, I do remember. The fixed income, I'm not sure if I like the performance there either, just in terms of what I would do if I were in your position. It's $10,266 sitting in short-term bonds, 26% of your portfolio. Like, it's just not the kind of performance that I would want 26% of my portfolio to have, personally. So you're just kind of getting a low return. Those first two things, so a total of 40% of your portfolio is sitting essentially into pretty conservative things.
This is, right, they're very conservative. This is, I guess, the quarter, my small little sliver of the pie that I'm getting. So that who knows what it's all like, where the funds are going.
Do you know if your fund manager is able to change these things up within your quarter without affecting everyone else's?
They split it up without even asking me.
That's a question that I would take back to this manager, though. Am I able to change what my holdings are?
I'm sure, absolutely.
Without needing the consent of everyone.
Well, my mother told me that we're allowed to change everything within the trust document except for, she said something like, we can change who manages it. We just can't change what's written in the document. So I've yet to see, I have a copy of the document, but it's like Chinese to me. I really don't know.
In that document, it might, okay, well, yeah, I guess a lot depends on that. And then your mutual fund equities, which is where the mutual funds where 43% are, I don't know these mutual funds specifically. In general, it looks like we have a growth fund, some advisor fund, I don't know, or mid cap and then growth, and I don't know much about this discipline thing, and then small cap, and then value fund. This could be okay, and I'm glad that the majority is in there, so that could be okay. And then what's performing well right now is that's within your mutual fund. So you also just have some foreign funds as well. And then the one that has been performing well is Eaton Vance Global Macro Absolute returned. So that's the one that's been performing well in during this statement, which is
The first quarter of the year.
the first quarter of this year. Yes, I'm curious where it's at and then mineral interest, but there's nothing there. Good. Okay, because that would be odd. Now, and then all that comes together to 37. The thing is, this is just one of 4. You said
Probably even more than that.
of
Yeah.
trust,
So
different trust funds?
they only again send me the documents on the ones I'm currently getting distributions from. So there's 2 that I get information about, and they're all written different. Like this one is going to cash out when my mother's no longer, and we receive all of the funds. Cash, me and my brother split. However, they're drawing everything from the one that cashes out. So I don't even know if I can tell them, hey, I'd like to use the funds from the other trust fund that doesn't cash out, that just rolls over. So, I need a lawyer. I need somebody who's educated in this.
Oh, and probably a good CPA too, and just I would like you to get all. It depends what's said in the document. If you can get all these under one roof.
So I
helpful.
asked that. I said, they said we can give you one trust officer, because it was spread out between multiple trust officers. And I told them, I said, this is too much. As I was talking to them on behalf of my mother, I said, it's too much for us to go to different people to manage these different accounts. Can you please just give us one trust officer to deal with all of them?
And do you know if you're able to get this transfer it to something like Fidelity?
So back in the 90s, when I received a trust fund, my brother did as well. They invested ours separately. So they took my brother's inheritance and they put it into a bunch of stocks, or a bunch of different, stocks and bonds, I believe. And they took mine and put them in a bunch of different ones. Well, my brother's accounts tanked and mine did very well. So my parents I guess they sued, it was Bank of America, and asked that they move the trust funds to Broadway. So at that time, they had to go downtown and file a lawsuit and move the funds from one bank to another.
So you don't know if you can?
I'm not really sure.
Because one thing that really sucks is just for this quarter, the quarter at the time of the statement, for your, almost $40,000, you had a fee for just that quarter of $310.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty brutal.
They charge, I think, just like an attorney does. I think they charge just to look at the accounts, and then they charge to talk on the phone if they have to manage it. No, they're making a killing.
Yeah, so I'd rather have this under something like Fidelity, which has much better fees.
However, I always tell myself when I get upset about stuff like that and seeing how much they're receiving from it, I always tell myself, if I were in charge of that money, I would have no money. So they're doing something with it. So as long as they're acting like it's theirs and they're taking care of it and making more, then I'm okay with somebody managing it.
Okay. Well, one thing that, so there was money put in.
Right.
So where was that money put in from?
I'm assuming they cashed something out, or they had to sell. So they always tell me when I ask for something, they're like, well, we had to go and cash out a bond or something to get funds to put in there.
Well, these were cash deposits from, SEMA Energy.
Yeah, they had to cash out a bond, I guess, or a stock or something.
So that's all it was. And it wasn't any external money that was deposited.
No.
Well, monthly distribution of income, $500 a month.
What's that for?
Paid to Cheryl.
That's to my mom.
$500 a month.
So she's getting that.
$1,500.
So I'm guessing what's happening is that since she's getting, she gets whatever she needs. So they take it out of mine, and because they are keeping it even between the board. So they don't want my brother coming back one day saying Tracy has used all the money. So they take it out of us equally, I'm assuming.
This is such a mess.
I'm so sorry I put you in this position.
Well, $500 is being taken away a month. That's not, this currently, especially with the fact that 40% of the portfolio is not even in decent growth assets.
I like to say this is just like a little pond of money that they've given me just to kind of keep me like, here's your money. Whenever you need distributions, we're going to give it to you, but we're going to do it at a slow rate.
Well, there was total of medical, and these were going to like senior care and stuff like that. Is that also your mom?
Yeah.
You're saying Cheryl.
Yep.
A total of $13,525. At that rate, if that was done every quarter, you wouldn't have money right now.
Exactly.
So what happened?
So she's severe diabetic. She has a very she has a driver. She's got somebody that takes her to the doctor. She has $1,300 a month in just prescriptions. She's well taken care of, and they're showing this on the distribution form because they're also removing it from my portion.
Yeah, a lot of it. That's right. A ton of money.
Right.
Well, it's a huge percentage.
It's all really hers.
Can you tell me how much is in there right now?
I'm guessing I don't really know. I would guess about
$9,000?
No, $9 million. And that's what? I'm guessing.
In what?
In the main trust fund. So this is a quarter of a quarter.
But this wouldn't equal, if it was $9 million, this isn't a quarter of $9 million.
So let's take a pie, right? We'll cut it in half. Now, once we cut that pie in half, we cut that half in half. So that's a quarter. Now, she's still getting distributions from my quarter.
Quarter of $9 million would be $562,500.
So then that's not right.
Then what's not right?
So I'm not right. So it's got to be something else. The group of them. That's what she said. She threw out the number 9.
But this is only a quarter of your quarter, right?
Right.
Because this is only a third.
That's only what they're showing me is what I have distribution.
So this is a quarter of a quarter of a quarter.
I'm assuming. Maybe we can tell by the paperwork. I don't know.
Well, if they're all similar to what this is, then you, at the time of this statement, would have like $148,000 would be your total quarter of the quarter.
Right.
$148,000, and then the total pie would probably be like $600,000. I'm confusing myself with all the quarters of the quarters.
So I think from what the 2 documents that I sent you, one of them is for benefit of Tracy, and what is the other one? Because that one may have a little more explanation. That one has the totals, I think.
We may have been confused.
Here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So this one is the one that you're looking at, right? The mutual funds and all that?
Yeah.
And it might be right here's the other one.
You came to the rescue.
Hopefully.
Thank you. Oh, okay, so what is this?
I'm not sure.
Can
you tell me? So it says here, this is the grandmother. It says, I believe, for benefit of my mother, who, I don't know why they would send me this if I don't have something to do with it. And then I think TR is for Tracy. I don't know.
This, my math is a little off, but this is a lot of money.
Okay.
This is, actually, no, my math was pretty close. This is $642,000.
Okay.
And then if what we're understanding, and the math actually was supporting this, then what we were looking at was a quarter of the quarter of the quarter. And then this is just the entire package.
Right.
And
then one of the trust funds.
Oh, this is only a single one of 4?
Yeah. I don't even have paperwork on the other ones because I don't even get to touch them.
Still don't like that $31,000. So this is just an...
Isn't that weird though that they have it set up like that? Let's see, and I can't even say anything to them or ask questions because I'm.
Well, it could just be sitting there. They're waiting to buy something that they think will be good, but these are in some pretty good funds. Lots in bonds that I don't like, but it's okay. Just don't like bonds.
What's wrong with bonds? Just not a good way to
I
invest.
just get something that it's like ultra conservative.
Yeah.
I'd get something that performs better and has a good historical return over decades and decades and decades. But okay. Actually, let's see. And then.
So that's hence my spending habit is very bad because I've always had the mentality of it's there. If I need it, it's there. I'll get it if I need it. But I don't want to live like that forever. I want to actually understand what's going on and manage my funds appropriately.
$250 3 times. Someone's utilities?
Probably. Not mine. Probably my brother's. Or hers. My mother's.
Okay, because, yeah. So how much money are you getting on a monthly basis?
Well, I don't get an amount from them. I have to request it.
How much do you request on a monthly basis?
About $3,000 a month.
$3,000?
My rent is $2,500. My expenses for gas and food and stuff, I request about another $500 to $1,000. So I'm right about there a month. But that's it. That's all I'm asking for.
Your rent is insane for your income.
Right. Well, I mean, I would think the same too. But I mean, I have to live somewhere, and the price is going up. So
price is going up, but I know you could do better than that. Well, how many bed, how many bath?
2 bed, 1 bath, 1.5, which is very small, and I'm looking for something bigger. So if you know of any place, let me know. No, it's crazy. Yeah, the rent is the huge part of it all, and thank God that they pay that, because if, everything I make I can use for important things like shopping.
If what we just saw there is a true fourth of the total package, and total package is like 2.56 million. Well, I'm like doing some wild, like kind of just educated guessing here, just
right.
based on what you think so it's kind of hard. And when your mother passes away, how does it get divided, specifically between you and your brother?
Right, me and my brother, that's it.
50-50?
50-50.
50-50. So you would, if our guess is right, 1.28 million in today's world. That's what you have.
Hoping I don't burn through a lot of that. But
well, if that happens, you're allowed to take no more a year than $51,200 of that. And so far, you're doing okay with that. But right now, you also have access to a much smaller piece. But when that unfortunate day comes, because
right.
obviously not a happy day, the ones that we have to, think about real world money, $51,200 a year or $4,266 a month is what you're able to take with it. At least, well, you can do it a couple ways. That's the usual 4% where the money can, where it can maintain itself, maybe grow a little, but you can have it, and then the overall value of the account shouldn't go down.
Right.
You could also do whatever profits the account gains essentially on an annual basis. You can supplement by taking that off, by siphoning that off. That's another way to do it. So just having it, the 1 point whatever comes in on that day, and then any amount that it grows on a yearly basis you can take out. So there's that as well. I like the point. I like the 4% rule. I think it's a better way to maintain an account, but that's what you're able to do. How old's your mom?
Yeah, no. So she's 78. She's still, she's living at home, but she's going to be assisted living, I'm sure. She actually pretty much assisted living. That's why all of the fees are for the senior living care. She has people that go out and help her if she needs it.
Is she going to have to move into a home though?
Well, I told her I would find her a nice one, and she said, just find me a nice one. So yeah, it's in the plan that if it gets to the point where she becomes, I guess it's, what's it called when they start to, digress and aren't able to take care of themselves, then yeah. But now she has somebody that helps her daily. They don't stay over or anything, but she pays for that. It comes out of the trust.
And once she goes, especially if it's a nice place, as you said,
right.
It'll
be a lot, like $30,000 a month or something is what I've heard.
It's gonna be expensive.
So she'll probably burn through most of it, before I need to go into an assisted living place.
Well, that's when decisions and hard conversations need to happen between you three.
Right. Well, so I'm currently not speaking to my brother. I haven't talked to him in 3 years over a stupid dog. Over a dog. Anyways,
what happened to the dog?
Well, he wanted me to take his dog because it bit his wife's granddaughter, and I was like, "Oh yes, I'll take your dog." Well, the dog was a real POS, so of course, it was one of those expensive ones, and I gave it away to somebody who's going to take care of it. And I told his wife, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm getting rid of this dog. I can't handle it either." And she said, "That's fine." And then I got rid of the dog to a nice place, and he flipped on it.
Did you ask him if he would be willing to take it back before you did?
She would refuse to take it back. She's
Well,
like,
did
it's
you
me
ask
or the
him,
dog.
though?
No, I didn't.
You should have asked him.
Well, he gave me the dog. I had it for 2 months, and I was like, I can't deal with this dog.
I know, but he obviously had a lot of love for the dog, and before you did that, you should have asked him. Correct. And then if it was his wife or the dog, that would have been his choice to make.
Right. Before she called me and she said, I don't know how to tell you and your brother this, but that dog cannot come back here. So that's when I took the steps to get rid of it.
I know. It's still not her choice, though.
Right. Well, I guess. I did them a favor, and then I got in trouble for it.
Well, I know. I would have approached it different, but either way, it's in the past. Might be, just in general, for the goal of life, it might be time to try to rekindle the relationship. I would admit some fault on your part because I do think you could have handled it a better way.
Yeah.
Apologize sincerely, and then, relationships are important. So,
yeah, I know.
And then we have to talk about the money.
Yeah, and then so I'm going to have to talk to him about these funds sooner or later because, it's something we have to discuss. And I can see his distributions and what he's getting from some of the
What's
paperwork.
he pulling?
He's pulling not as much as me. So that's why they split it up, is because I was taking quite a bit of it. And they wanted to make sure that he didn't come back one day and say, why did you let her have all the money?
Well, in terms of what we're guessing, and I hate that we're going off of a guess, we're guessing the entire portfolio balances. What you're pulling isn't hurting it. I don't like that you are essentially having to sustain your life on it. I wish we could be a little more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But it's not going to drain it. One thing you have to figure out, we call IBC Bank, which I hate that they're managing it either way.
Oh, IBC is a different one. That's my personal bank account.
Oh, sorry. Broadway, yes. And we say, okay, what is the total value of
all of it?
All of it, and then you can calculate the distributions from there.
Maybe I can get some assistance from some of your listeners or somebody who would be able to help me with this, because I'm literally I have no clue where to go from here. I would really appreciate that. Yeah,
if you guys have any recommendations, shoot an email and I'll forward it as well. So, in your checking account.
Yeah, that's just a joke. Look at it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, $19.60.
It's normally negative. Like, I don't know. I can't believe it's in the positive right now. That's how bad it is. So I'm the poorest rich girl you will ever meet. That has been my title my entire life. I've got all of this money that I can't touch, or I'm begging for my own money. That's kind of that's my life story.
Well, you put in a request to take it out. Could you put in a request to take out your entire 25%?
No, God, no. They would say no. So they,
Good, I'm glad.
Exactly. Could you imagine leaving somebody a large chunk of money? And I would be broke right now, literally.
Well, this is why they have the term trust fund babies or whatever,
yes, exactly.
Trust fund child.
And I'm not a hater. Thank God that somebody loved me enough to.
But you want this trust fund to be able to go to your two kids, right?
Right. And you're absolutely right. And again, I would like to have a nice retirement home as well. But if I continue with the way I'm spending, I won't have one.
Well, and the way your income is in a pretty expensive area. Do you have a degree? Yeah,
so I do. I was a project manager at USAA before the pandemic. My entire life I've been, I've always worked very hard. Being a field technician was something I picked up during the pandemic because at that time I would be considered an essential worker. Mm. So being a project manager at USAA, I was bringing in over $10,000 a month.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Might be time to get back into that and try to not take as much off and then just literally make a budget on a monthly basis. It's just a simple budget. You could just follow the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income post-tax will go to needs, what you need to survive. 30% will go to your wants, and that's still a lot of want, $10,000. $10,000 a month, and then obviously taxes, and then which you will pay. Well, it would be take out W-2 anyway, so whatever. And then 20% will go to savings. So it's the mentality I have. So I have been in a position where I make that really good money. Mm-hmm. It's just me always having that trust fund to fall back on. So I've got to get out of the mentality of telling myself, well, it's always going to be there. I always tell myself money comes and it goes. Well, you just need to forget it exists.
I know.
Like, yeah.
And that's probably where the whole term, trust fund babies, because they act, like I get it. I totally get it. And I can't say that I don't act it, but I need help right at the moment. So I need someone to help me with these funds, because I don't know how to read that paper. I don't know where they're going, and I don't know who to ask.
Well, we need to just get you to sit down with a true legit financial advising house, essentially. And you will have to pay a little bit for it, but it'll be worth it. It'll save you money in the long term. But just looking at your monthly spending, obviously your mortgage is insane compared to your income. Not mortgage, your rent is insane compared to your income. And then we have Apple bills and Locker Fox, Jesse Payton, Laugh Out Loud, Cash Apping out, Colony Drive, something there, Apple, Spirit Halloween, something group, and some Store It All.
Yeah, it's like storage.
Yeah, Americans have too much.
I do the storage auctions where people don't pay on their storage, so I go and rate it when they no longer can afford it.
Danny, Ice Corp, Apple, McDonald's, Firehouse Subs, Ice House, Apple, Little Caesars, Amazon, an Adobe thing, Densville, I don't know. There's some more auction stuff, and then Group starting with a P and Amazon, and Ram S Express, San Antonio, and Apple and Cash Apping out as well. So, you're spending all your money.
I deal a lot with cash. No, I don't actually. But I do side jobs. I do odd jobs. I do, like I'm an artist. I do, events on the weekend sometimes, and I'll make an extra $250. So, it's not,
well,
I'm not going to live under a bridge and starve to death. That's for sure.
No, you won't. You have, you need to figure out how much is actually in there. And because then the math kind of comes down to that. But either way, it just comes down to decision making. What I would do were I in your shoes is, okay, $3,000 a month is not to live on, especially with a $2,000 whatever rent. So I'm going to try to get back into project management. I'm going to try to get that, $120,000 a year that you were making, something like that. And then I would just live off of a strict budget, and you just use any of the budgeting apps. They're all good. And you just set it out based on the 50-30-20 rule that we already talked. 50% on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings. You lived on a strict monthly basis, understanding where every single cent goes, and then you're not touching your trust fund, because who knows what's going to happen to that money with your mom heading into retirement. Who knows? That can be very expensive, especially the way you're talking about it. And then, when it comes to your retirement, how does that look? Is it going to be enough? Stuff like that. And, splitting between you and your brother anyway, so... Right.
What app do you recommend for budgeting?
I use Mint.
Okay. I've never tried that one.
It's a good one. But there's any works.
Any other type of apps or any type of other ideas or tools that can help me become a better or not such a frivolous spender?
Well, it's going to come down to understanding maybe why you do some of the stuff. If retail therapy to get through different things.
No, you're right.
Therapists always help. Mental health, always encouraging anyone and everyone, no matter what the situation is. Like they're the best in the world or the worst in the world. Therapy is always great, so I recommend that. And that can get down to some of the root causes of some spending habits.
I would admit I do have a spending problem.
Yeah, and then when it comes down to figuring out where money's going, that just comes down to a budget and then discipline. A lot of people will make a budget, but then do they follow through with the budget? That just comes down to the individual. Right. How much do you want to be disciplined? That answers the question in terms of does the budget work or not. And then you just have to get your income up as well. You could continue siphoning from this. Who knows how much it's worth? Who knows how much is going to be left by the time you have access to 50% of it? Those are things you're going to have to sit down and find out with someone. You'll just have to, pay some money with either on the legal side or on the, financial advice side where they can go in there and take a look.
I think the legal is going to suck the life out of me, and I've tried the hardest I can not to seek an attorney because I know I'm going to have to pay thousands of dollars to help
I don't know why you would have to at this point anyway, because there's no legal fights between people. You should be able to just
Well, I'm going to take their time. So the attorneys...
Well, I don't know why you have to go to the attorney right now, though.
Well, because I don't know who else would take the time to sit down and actually care about
Financial
explaining
advisor.
to me. Right, but I'd have to... Okay, well...
You'll have to pay them. Should be less than a lawyer, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have to fight. I've got to be ready and prepared and, to go
Fight
to the
what
bank.
and who?
Well, the bank. Like, and the financial advisor calls the bank and the bank's like, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't need to talk to you. The financial advisor is not going to have the legal knowledge to be like, well, yes, I'm representing, this person. I'm going to do that.
I mean, this Broadway should technically be representing you. You should be able to go sit down with someone or have a phone call with someone.
Right. I should.
That's first step. We attempt that.
Right.
And then if you have to go down the more negative paths.
Right.
But start there. I mean, that you should be able to do that.
I get the feeling sometimes they like that I'm ignorant. They like to keep me in the dark because they can do what they want with the funds, which could be anything. But I always just tell myself they're trying to make money for themselves, then they'll keep making money for us.
Tracy's going to be ignorant no more, though.
No more.
So you're going to go there. And the best way to do it, this is why I would like you to be able to transfer this to a different thing, and you might need your mom's sign off on that. But if you can get this transferred to a financial advisor that you're able to sit down with, have a relationship with, and who is able to walk you through everything, that would be great. Need to figure out what it takes to do that. I might put that on the list to do as well. Right. Now, another thing that we need you to do, because I don't know, first of all, how have you been doing this taxes? Is it through someone like a CPA, or are you doing it through like just an online thing?
Right. I have a CPA who has been our CPA forever, and he actually does the taxes on the trust. So he's not warned me or set off any red alarms or anything. So he's just kind of, the last time I went and saw him.
Well, except for you not paying taxes in 3 years.
Right. So I went and visited with him this summer, right at the beginning of the tax preparation time. And he said, get me all of these documents. He wanted all of the documents from me doing the field tech work. He said I should be getting money back because I hadn't done it in 3 years. But he was the one that filed the extensions for me. So he's like, friend of the family. And I didn't see any concern in his eyes, so I really wasn't concerned either. But I assumed that, if there was something really wrong, he'd be like, hey.
I think we need to start no longer just assuming. We need to ask straight up, what do I need to do? Let's get the tax backlog just figured out. Whether or not I owe money, whatever you tell me. Do I owe money? Do I not? For this year, for the past 3 years, like sit down and have that conversation. And if you do, we just work our butt off to get that money.
I have taxes on my Dropbox from when I had them filed last. Like the form, all of the whole packet.
In the Dropbox that you shared?
Yeah. Well, I didn't share those with you, but I have them.
I see.
I have them available right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. What concerns me most is let's just get a straight answer of what you need to do.
Right.
What you just straight up need to do. There was lots of flexibility when it comes to taxes throughout the pandemic. Yeah. They hired more people. The last thing you want to do is get an audit.
Right.
So,
oh gosh, you're right. But I should just file. I just haven't done it.
Yeah.
I haven't really felt I wasn't in need of the stimulus checks and stuff because the trust fund was giving me what I needed.
Yes. So is there anything else? Do you have any debts? Do you have?
No, I have a couple credit cards, but nothing.
Okay. What about them?
My car's paid off. I just recently got a new car and the trust just paid cash for it. I got,
Good.
So, that was good. I don't really have any debts.
What are these credit cards?
Yeah, I've got a couple of one for $300, one for they were those just little basic, huge interest rates. But
what's the worth on the other one?
Nothing.
Balance.
Oh gosh, nothing over 600.
Whatever the balance for those are, I would try to actually get that from the trust and then pay them off immediately because I'm sure the interests are just far outweigh.
I think they've all gone into collection status. So I'm sure they're. Yeah, I've actually gotten one phone call. There's one I know that is in collection. I only had 3, to be honest. So
How long have they been?
It's since the beginning of the pandemic.
At this point, because you have the money to do it and it would just clean up everything, I would just do it. And you would probably have to do that by siphoning just a little bit because it's not that much. Just take it off and you might be able to negotiate it down
Right.
as well.
They've called me to do that, to negotiate it down. So, yeah, it's not a lot at all, but I don't have any other debts I can think of. No one I've never...
I would also chop up any credit cards. I would never get credit cards because I don't think it works for your situation. Right. The minority of people can use credit cards. I don't think you fall in that camp.
I listen to Dave Ramsey sometimes just to make myself feel better about my situation, because he talks about, all these people who have all of these debts and stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm doing better than they are because I don't have all of these debts. But I mean, other than that, I want to live in I want an income or home, a dual income home, right? So that's why my rent is so high, because I want to live in something that no bank would be like, okay, here, Tracy, we're going to give you $400,000 because you want to live in somewhere that's really nice. But if I rent, I can afford a nicer place. So that's why I pay a little more in rent.
Well, I think once the trust is in your name, this was something that also just popped into my head. It might be worth taking some out to buy a house.
And I'm surprised they haven't offered to do that.
Well, maybe it's just because it's tied up with your mom and then all this stuff. So I don't. I think what Dave would tell you is similar to me. You just need to fight to sit down with Broadway, figure out what the heck this is, and then, if possible, transfer it to a money management service that you can sit down and they'll walk you through everything. I think it comes down to some. I mean, if the last time you sat down with your tax person was in the summer, I think there's some personal responsibility things too that we have to think of.
Oh yes, I'm very much dropping the ball. It's my lack of driving this bus to get this all understood. That's why when I saw you online, I was like, wow, this guy could put me in the right direction, maybe introduce me to some people that could help me.
Yeah, and I wish I could help more than I could with the trust fund specifically, but I think key takeaways from here: you can't use credit cards, never use credit cards. Try to pull off what you can and negotiate down the payments, pay it off. Get a budget. You don't have any massive debts to pay off once you just get that, which you should be able to do from your trust fund with the credit cards. We get your income up with a job, whatever that income might be. We then set a strict monthly budget where you don't have to siphon off money anymore, because who knows what's going to be happening with your mom for the rest of her life with, the medical needs. So then, you're following a strict monthly budget, and we are immediately trying to sit down with the tax expert, try to figure out what you have to do come tax season. How much will you owe? Will you owe anything? If not, great. If you do, then we're saving up that much money as fast as we can. Or in the worst case, we have to siphon that off as well, which would be terrible. And we're also making it an emergency to sit down with Broadway Bank right now and figure this all out, and then also talk with your mom and brother, rekindle that relationship as well, by the way, and figure out if you can get this transferred to something with, one, lower fees, which would be great, and two, with someone who will walk you through everything, answer any and every question anytime you have it.
Right. Absolutely. Yes, the budgeting, that's first on my list, and then Broadway is right away. Yes. And again, anybody that could assist, it would be so helpful. Yeah,
I have someone in Houston that might be willing to.
Great.
So I'll forward them as well. And they'll do it virtually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think everything's pretty much done virtually nowadays.
Yeah. So any final thoughts?
No. Thank you for visiting with me and taking a look at all of this. And I look forward to any and all advice that I could get going forward.
All right. So for Tracy's Hammer financial score, rent is basically her income that's coming in. She's spending all of her money, on top of that, as she confessed, all of her money or her checking account is usually in the negative, and luckily right now she had at least a few dollars in there. She has no insight into her money, into her trust fund, and she's certainly coming from a privileged background. At least she recognizes that, but she has no insights to anything. She hasn't paid taxes in 3 years. Hasn't filed taxes in 3 years. It's a mess. It's a mess. But she is in a position where luckily she has a lot to fall back on when it comes to finances. And if she wasn't, she would be, as she said, living under a bridge. But I can't give a good score. There's going to be some points for, definitely deductions for having maxed out credit cards. But, no car debt. She bought it in cash through the trust fund, of course. There's not a lot of other debts. So I think Hammer financial score of 3 out of 10, but I think she could easily increase that just with some insights. Give me those insights, be able to talk on your money, and I think she could get to like 5 or 6 out of 10 as well. If you enjoy this video, feel free to share it with someone who you think might like it, as it really helps this channel grow. And feel free to follow her socials as well, which are linked in the description below, and follow all mine. Thanks.